I'm always
generally
right. You know
correct.
it.
And we're starting now.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we are
I don't care what you
live.
say. The Germans are evil, right?
I agree.
I wasn't
The
talking to you.
Germans.
I was talking to no nuts.
I know.
you're referencing the difference between that and France. I know what you were doing.
No, the French are stupid and evil.
Also true.
They get the extra moniker. I see this. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We have news. We have a lot of news stories, anyway. And I'm going to go through them at times, Batman, fairly quickly. All right. So I guess I could come over here and clue you in here.
Yeah, you don't want to clue him in. It's much more fun to get his honest response
Clue
as
me
a
in.
layman.
Clue me. That's why you're putting the knuckle dusters on.
Yeah.
Now you'll have the ability to see the stories ahead of time. Right? From what
You're
this is, so
assuming
that you don't, because we have them
Nomad.
somewhat grouped.
Nomad. You're assuming he can read. Come on.
I didn't
Don't be
assume that he
nasty.
could read. I just wanted him to be aware.
Oh,
Besides,
look at
looking
pictures.
at pictures, isn't it?
I
Isn't
can
that
read
generally how it
perfectly
works?
well.
Okay.
I'll have you know.
Yeah.
Jenson Liquin.
Exactly.
And when I read, I actually also clean my computer screen.
It's because you're licking it, you weirdo.
No, because I'm using my finger.
All
I
right.
thought it was
Go
just
on,
like
do
silly
keep
putty to
up.
pull the cartoons off of this. Anyway.
No, it's actually it's to wait out where I've been doing a document and I made mistakes.
That's fair.
I see.
I
It's
actually
good
said
to
that
see
to
the
B
difference
once. That got a bad reaction.
But we have news, and we're going to start with one of the more recent news stories.
Mm-hmm.
FBI arrests 21-year-old Air National Guardsman suspected of leaking classified documents. FBI agents took Jack Texaria, I'm not trying to butcher your name, all right, into custody Thursday afternoon without incident, Attorney General Merrick Garland announced. Jack, a 21-year-old member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard, was arrested by federal authorities Thursday in connection with their investigation into classified documents that were leaked on the internet. FBI agents took Jack into custody Thursday afternoon without incident. Today, the Justice Department arrested Jack, all right, in connection with an investigation into alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information. He is an employee of the United States Air Force National Guard. Now, before we actually talk about this story, I want people to see this one as well, which is Air Force cadet reacts to being assigned to Minot Air Force Base. Okay? Now, you have the thing here. We'll watch this. And you see the face.
Are you going to include sound?
Oh, no, I'm not going to include sound. All right? Because she got assigned to Minot, and now she's in tears. Because, I mean, the sound I want to make is laughter. Okay?
Well, that's the sound they're making.
Yeah.
I want to know why she's reacting.
She's crying. She's literally
Yeah,
crying.
I have no idea of what's up with this base.
No, she looks like she's laughing.
First
They
of all,
both look like they're laughing.
All right, now, first of all, this guy was in the Air National Guard. The Air National Guard is 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. This guy had all this access on 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. That's problem number one. All right.
No nuts.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the wrong article open.
No, I closed the other ones.
Right. Yeah, but you've got the Russian jet one.
I did. Batman. The screen that I'm showing the other people is not the one that has the Russian jet yet. Please stop trying to get ahead of things. Okay, stick with it. I know technology is new for the two of us, but I did get beyond rock on rock stage.
Yeah, no, you haven't got that far yet. I thought you were doing the whole showing the article so it could be read all the way
No,
through and then
no.
react.
I'm just going to talk about the article. I'm just showing the
Ah.
article so
Yeah.
that people can see them. That
Before
Fair
you
enough.
do, Nomad. Before you do, I heard that this guy actually released it all on Discord.
Yes, he did.
Uh,
He was,
Yeah,
I
so
just
does
not
Matt.
mention that.
and then somebody else was like releasing it to
Mhm.
the press people for all this information. Now, first of all, one of the questions that the press started asking is, how could a 21-year-old have access to classified information? Now,
Mhm.
Oh, it's easy because Hillary gave it to him.
no. Believe it or not,
And the information as well.
Mhm.
I asked this question when I was first assigned when I first went into the military and got my assignment. Okay,
Mhm.
because I was 18 and going through the security briefing, and I'm like, you're giving 18-year-olds
Hold
access
on,
to top
hold on.
secret information?
When you
Mhm.
say you were 18, are you on about years, yeah,
It doesn't matter.
geological eras or what?
That's an immaterial question there.
Well, I
Doesn't
think when you
matter.
were 18 though, yeah, the state of the universe was pretty immaterial as well,
Depends on
wasn't
what
it?
18 is referencing. In this case, we'll just let it go. All right, but
I
the
can't.
guy being young is not an excuse for releasing classified information. The problem that they're all upset about was they were releasing actual reports about our assessment going on in Russia right now. Now, this other girl that got assigned to Minot. Okay, now I realize you guys have no idea what Minot is.
Oh.
Okay, Minot is a very, very important base. However, it is
Mhm.
in the middle of North Dakota.
Ah.
Okay. Now, why do I say that this is an important base? One, around the Minot sector are the ICBMs.
Ah.
All right. Two, Minot Air Force Base is the home of the B-2 bomber.
Oh.
Okay. Minot is not a terrible place, unless, of course, you're somebody from New York and you gotta have people around everywhere because you're gonna be in the boonies. All right. There is not much around Minot. It's in North
Still,
Dakota.
it still
Okay.
looked to
There's a
me
lot of
like they were
farmland.
laughing.
They were not laughing.
It looked to me like they were laughing, and I can understand that because it's an unusual sounding name, and they were probably making crude jokes about it.
Yeah,
In my opinion, and this is purely my opinion, it looks like the one that was sent there was gutted, and the other one was taking the piss out of her.
There's that
pretty
as
much,
well.
yeah. And
Mhm.
but Minot is because of its mission, is really a cool place to go. If you
Of
were
course, it's cool. It's
going
North
to, if
Dakota.
you were a Jensen will agree with me, I think, on this, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll disagree.
Hold on a minute. I must correct the chat. Sean, you don't drive planes, you fly planes.
Mhm.
Okay. Trust me, that's true. But when you
no,
go
seriously,
when you go through the military and you get your assignment, you want to go someplace that's going to matter. You want to go to the places that are on the tip of the spear, the guys that are doing the gee whiz bang stuff.
I
Right?
kind of did, but I see what you're saying.
Okay, that's what Minot is for the Air Force. For you going in as an airman, that is Minot.
Yeah.
I cannot understand, and yet if you look at the storyline, right, and then went down to see what all the postings were, all these people, all these airmen dissing Minot. You know why? Because they're expecting it to be a flippin' country club.
uh-huh.
They're
Uh,
expecting this
so,
is we're not
hold on.
really in the military. We're supposed to be getting the three squares and having a great time.
In
And
all
I wanted to go
seriousness,
to Party Central.
in all seriousness, Slow Brad, what you're saying is these are the service women who actually slept through most of their classes and orientation lectures.
They probably slept their way through. Yeah.
Oh,
We're not gonna.
That one of them looked so chubby she actually threatened to sleep her way through.
Okay.
Oh, so
First
it's a
of all,
case of
when it comes to before
yourself.
we start talking about how overly wasty,
Endowed.
how much excess weight they're carrying, the the military's BDUs or battle dress uniforms, right?
Yep.
Or DCUs, which is digital
You can
combat
tell
uniforms, right?
by her face. She's
I,
she's not fat, right? She's chubby.
Puppy
Yeah,
fat.
well,
You probably find
she's
puppy
a
fat.
bit overweight.
they're that's. I'm not saying that isn't the case. I'm just trying to point out that this is the Air Force. What do you expect? We call them the Chair Force for a reason.
Hmm.
Okay, all right. It's not like they're running 2 or 3 miles a day, for PT. If they run to the snack bar, they're doing good. All right.
I'm okay with that. Hmm.
Yeah, I've got a mate who was in the Air Force. Admittedly, it was the Royal Air Force, so they actually had to keep fit.
They had to.
He joined. He was actually a transport pilot, right?
Mhm.
But all the way through his basic training and up to getting his his pilot's license, he was always told, no matter what job you do in the Air Force, you're actually a soldier first.
Hmm.
Yeah, they say that.
No,
then,
that's
then,
they
then they get
actually.
it.
I
They,
don't
they,
know.
they
I don't know
try
what
to
it's
say
like
that.
now. I don't know what it's like now, but back then they actually had to pass their monthly weapons proficiency courses to keep getting paid, basically, or to keep getting
Hmm.
paid at a decent rate anyway.
Well, yeah, there's certain pays that certain statuses that you have
And
to
they had
to
to
fulfill.
constantly pass the fitness levels as well.
Well, in the army, you have extra pay for certain things. For example, if you are airborne, and you're part of an airborne unit and you are jump qualified, they will pay you so much money a month to stay jump qualified, which means you got to go on a jump at least once a month.
Yeah.
All right. So those things kind of apply. The problem is when you start talking standards today, the standards today are ridiculous.
The
They're still
standards
trying
today
to
doesn't
figure out
do.
how to sit up there and create a standard that women won't fail at a higher rate than men. That's a reality. Okay, that's a reality of where the military is right now. They are
There's an easy
more
way. Oh look,
interested.
there's an easy way to do that. It's when you want female personnel in the military, you want them to succeed at an equal rate to men when it comes to physical things. You only employ trans women.
That doesn't work, Batman. You know why? Because what does a trans person have to take every day?
Yeah, I know. I'm being a Charlie uniform November Tango.
All right. But the thing is these are the people that they're expecting to fight this next war with Russia, right? And one of the, like I said, the reason they went after this guy was he was putting out assessment reports that were showing that the Ukrainians are not doing as well as they are claiming that they're doing. Okay, as the media would lead you to believe. The media would lead you to believe that the Ukrainians are just kicking the shit out of the Russians and the Russians are dying in droves. You can go on any aggregator site right now about with the Ukrainians, and the first stories you're going to see, right, are all these stories about how well the right or how badly the Russians are getting beaten, and the next tank that
People
was blown
are
up and everything else.
people are actually pointing out that a lot of these videos from the war in the Ukraine are faked.
I don't know how many are faked or not. I will say things like this though. This is talking about the war here, right? A Russian jet almost shot down a British surveillance plane flying near the Ukraine, and it only failed because the missile malfunctioned.
Hmm.
Now, if you read this story, a Russian jet fighter's attempt to shoot down a British surveillance plane in international airspace only failed because the missile malfunctioned, according to the New York Times.
Oh well, we don't
Both-
believe that's New York Times. They're biased.
They
It's
are
it's the Biden press.
Yeah.
Mm.
Both leaked U.S. intelligence documents and an account given to the New York Times by an anonymous defense officials paint a startling picture of a September 29th incident which appears to be far more serious than initially reported. A recently circulated trove of leaked U.S. intelligence documents called the incident, which took place over the Black Sea, all right, off the coast of
No, you can't call it that
Russia-occupied
anymore.
Crimea.
You can't call it that anymore. It's the Sea of Colour.
Well, the Sea of Color, right? A near shootdown of a UK RJ. Okay. Now, Jensen, an RJ is a pretty big aircraft, isn't it?
It's also slow moving, I believe,
Well, yeah,
relatively.
it's not a it's like it looks like a transport type of aircraft, right?
It's a spotter plane.
Mm.
I think they're on the same airframe as like 747, something like that.
Yeah, they're a big
But
surveillance type of frame, and I believe they have a very
minimal
similar
armament.
a very similar EW package as like our AWACS do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I believe they've got minimum armament as well. So
They don't
yeah,
need it. The whole
Well,
point is
there's
that
no
they see
plane.
you coming.
Let's be honest. There's no plane that's not minimally armored. Okay, all right.
not
Mm.
I said
When you talk
minimal
about minimal
armament.
armament, planes are meant to be light for a reason.
Yeah, I know
Oh,
your ears are like primitive and barely evolved. They're known as, but I said armament,
I should also point
not
out that
armor.
the A10
Okay.
is armored to FEP.
Yeah, armored, not armament. Yeah,
No,
guns,
I
guns
understood
and
what
shit.
you said, mate. I was just explaining that when it comes to armor, the A10 kind of goes against this whole planes don't have
Okay.
armor because that boy, that does.
Can
But
can an
that,
A10 take a 30 millimeter round?
Yes,
yeah,
All right,
oh, unless
and not be seriously damaged.
yes.
the
No.
unless the fighter pilot is a fucking good shot and can get it in the
Now
the jet intakes.
well, actually they're designed. The A10 is designed to take damage. Okay, that's
Yes.
true.
Yeah, but
But what
like
I'm
I
talking
said,
about, but it's not a flying tank. It doesn't weigh
oh no,
the same as a 70-ton M1 Abrams. Okay,
that's why they use missiles.
If I
Right.
may,
Yes, you may.
the whole point with the A10 is that it's armored so as it can deal with small arms fire and things like that, including pintle-mounted MGs. And the cockpit actually has double armor rating because it has the external armor and the cockpit itself has an internal armor coating. So
It
even
does
if the
have-
plane does get taken out, the
It-
pilot is more than likely going to survive.
Yeah, I
It's-
think the actual windshields are almost as tough as steel, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why your point about
actually,
him shooting through the
tougher.
canopy is amusing.
No, I didn't say the canopy. I said the jet intake.
Oh, okay. In that case, that was my mishearing. I apologise.
It's
Well,
because
they're
Nomad
very
won't shut up.
simple. They're very simple. In comparison. The jet intakes for the A10s are very simple. All right,
Mhm.
they're not complex, they're meant to take damage. All right, and continue
Yeah.
flying. All right, they
Yeah.
are tough. They're tougher than regular jets. That's all true. I'm not denying it. And Jensen is correct. What they have as for the pilots is they're sitting in what they call a titanium bathtub.
Yep.
Okay, and titanium is a very light material. It's a very expensive material. All right, but it is very resistant. All right, to gunfire.
Yep.
In military gunfire, and I mean, it does what it's supposed to. Okay, but it's one of the reasons why the Air Force wants to get rid of the A10 because an A10 itself is so damn expensive compared to the rest of the design work with it because that titanium is so expensive, right? That much
Just want to make
titanium is not cheap.
just want to make a point here. If you've never heard the whir of an A10's Avenger, you really should listen to it. It is a beautiful sound to hear, except when they're using it in Your People. Hint, hint.
You at least had no doubt what was happening, now did you? Anyway,
Oh, we knew who did it.
now this is one of the things that has happened from the release of the documents. Ukrainian war leak shows Western special forces on the ground. The UK is among a number of countries with military special forces operating inside the Ukraine, according to one of dozens of documents leaked online. It confirms that what was the subject was about quiet speculation about for over a year. All right, now let's be perfectly frank. Special forces are always in these areas. Period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. There's not a nation that does not have special forces right now somewhere within the Ukraine. Not Hungary, which probably has their special forces somewhere within the Russian sectors. Not Japan, which I guarantee has some kind of special forces operation in the Ukrainian side of the battlefield. Not the United States. I guarantee you the United States has several active special force type units roaming in the Ukraine right now. And that goes for also Germany. And if you don't believe me, take a look at this story. All right, now you can take it for a grain of salt. This is Pravda. Russian troops capture a German Leopard tank near Kherson. All right, Kherson is in the south, just above the Crimea. So for the people who wondering where it's at. German Leopard tanks were spotted in the direction of Kherson. This is reported by RAA Novosta. I don't know how to say it. Novosti. Right? With reference to an officer of the volunteer battalion Falcon with the call sign Bull. He added that the tanks repeatedly fired at checkpoints. The officer said the Russian servicemen managed to capture one of the German armed vehicles. They couldn't drag him to the rear. They took him and downed him in a swamp. All right. The leopards are here, and they were already visiting. In addition, according to him, Russian soldiers recorded the use of German anti-aircraft missiles by armed forces of the Ukraine. Presumably, they were controlled by mercenaries from Germany. This is what's happening, folks. The Ukrainians are not the only ones fighting this war, and they're not the ones that are doing the massive amounts of damage that you're hearing about. It is forces from other nations that are officially not engaged that know how to use these weapon systems, all right, to their fullest effect. But it shows. I'm sorry, what was that, Jensen?
It does not surprise me at all.
No, of course not. But it is something of concern. I'm more concerned with the fact that the Russians tried to shoot down an RJ. Okay? Yeah. Because that will significantly increase the tension.
That would have gone direct confrontation with NATO.
That is literally war.
Yeah.
Well, the question is would it have
not with Biden, because he go out as only a British plane, it doesn't matter. Because Biden
no. I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I don't know how much you guys are aware of, but there's a lot of times our surveillance airframes fly over areas and get shot at or shot down.
Yeah.
You just don't ever hear about it.
Yeah.
Okay? Because they don't admit to it. They don't talk about it. And I wonder if in this case, if that RJ had gone down, if they would have reported it as being shot by the Russians.
Yeah.
Now, they claimed that the Russians fired a missile and it missed.
Yeah.
I strongly suspect that might have been a warning shot, because, I mean, they can actually fire stuff off to, like missiles as warning shots that aren't going to hit.
Well,
in all fairness...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on, man. You first.
Well, I don't think it was that. I think, to be honest, they never fired a missile.
Yeah. Batman. What it would be, especially with aircraft, they wouldn't actually fire the missile. They'd just get a radar lock, which the other one would pick up. And at that point, you see, we've just been warned.
We've been pinged, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's
the only
beyond
other
pinging because
alternative,
you
the only
have.
other alternative is that the Russian ground crews are so neglectful that their weapons don't work all the time.
Well, this was
which is
an
possible.
airframe. This was
Yeah,
this was
back in a
an
sec, guys. Got to
Yeah,
close
but
my
we're on
was
about
a
the
Russian-
missile here. We're on
This
about
was
the
a
missile
Russian
here that
airframe.
didn't. We're on about the missile here that didn't hit.
Right, but in this case, it was an aircraft to aircraft engagement. All right, and Jensen is correct. You have radar lock from the aircraft, and you have radar locks that come from missiles themselves.
Yep.
Okay? So most likely, what this was is that the missile. Not only did they have aircraft airlock, they probably also had or got a tone for.
Yeah, that's what Jensen
Missile-
was on
missile.
about. He got the tone.
They were
Look,
probably
we've
told
all,
not
we've
to.
all played. We've all played the Top Gun game. We all know what you're talking about.
All right, but I honestly believe now the Russians have been getting a little. The Russians have been getting hyper aggressive, especially in the Black Sea.
Yeah,
Okay,
agree.
so there has been some incidents, all right, of things. All right, the most well known that everybody knows about right now is, of course, the hi Doko, it's good to see you.
Well, let's face it. Modern aircraft, especially combat aircraft, do carry signal jammers these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if the Russians hadn't wanted anybody to know that they'd pinged that aircraft would not have got a signal out, would it?
Arguable. It all depends on who's got the better electronics. And no offense, but Russia's not really up with the NATO gear.
No, it's not even close.
Yeah.
No, it's they're okay. Their
Their computers
systems
still
are
have valves.
very well. Their systems are very powerful,
Yes.
but they're not very agile. How's that? Okay.
Yeah, like it says, their computers still have valves.
Their computers still have hamsters. What are you talking about?
But they work. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't want people to get the impression that these things are useless. All right, they aren't. They and the Russia has been, like I said, getting very aggressive. They took down one of our drones by. Now, initially, they tried to report that they took the drone down by dumping fuel on it. Everybody remembers this, right?
Yeah.
We've now admitted that no, they didn't. We actually collided with
Mm-hmm.
it. Okay, so the Russians flew home. The drone went into the Black Sea. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, but it was a collision that caused it. It was not just dumping fuel on top of it. Because dumping fuel is not going to. I was wondering about that because dumping fuel should not have done anything to that airframe.
No.
Made it wobble very slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it might have clouded some of the sensors temporarily, right? But that's about the most it could have done.
I like Matt's comment. Mostly powered by vodka.
Yeah,
that's actually a fair statement.
The wokeness and weakness of people in the West in general. I'm actually waiting for a drone pilot whose drone crashes to have PTSD and wake up nightmares about the crash 3 years afterwards.
Do not suggest it, because some idiot is going to come up with that. You know it.
Somebody's probably already thought of it.
If this is going to give people PTSD, this is sure as hell going to do it. I guarantee it. Putin's butchers horror show vid shows Ukrainian soldiers head on a pike after being decapitated by Russians in a sick ISIS-style execution. The grisly footage, purportedly to be a member of Putin's army beheading a Ukrainian prisoner of war, has been denounced by Kiev as a war crime. The timing of the terrifying clip, which appeared on social media, cannot be verified, but the alleged battlefield murder is believed to be from 2022. Okay, now first of all, for those people who are skeptical that this happened, right? Jensen says like, "Oh, this is probably one of those fake videos," and I was like, I personally believe this video is real. I also believe it's from the Chechens.
Check to see if the head looks suspiciously like Donald Trump's, because they might Zelensky might have borrowed. No. Let me finish. Because Zelensky might have borrowed something from Kathy Griffin.
Oh, oh.
Okay. I do believe that the Russian Chechen forces, which were used by Putin very extensively in the first lead up of the first part of the war, right?
Mhm.
They would do something like this. And when they say ISIS style, yeah, because they're members of ISIS. All right, this is how they've always acted. Okay, and I stand by the statement that the Chechens were initially used, all right, as the penal battalions, as the front, stormtroopers or shock troopers, for the very purpose to get rid of them. Okay, because Chechnya has been a breakaway province, has attempted to break away from Russia several times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so this is to them a perfect place for them to get rid of two problem children. You got the Ukrainians and the Chechens killing each other so that the White Russians, of course, can dominate the entire region, right?
You mean the honky Russians?
However you want to talk about it. I'm using the term from the original old days, all right?
Yeah, I know.
They're all PC.
They were the Catholic or the Russian Orthodoxies.
Now the Zelensky has been going on a tirade because one of the allies of Russia in this field, right? Although they haven't quote unquote put real troops on the ground, but they've been giving them armament and all sorts of other support, specifically food, has been Hungary. Okay? The Hungarians have joined hand to hand with the Russians in this case. All right?
That surprises
Now,
me, actually.
I don't know how to take that because,
But
it is kind of a surprise because I would have expected the Romanians to be more involved, but the Romanians are on the other side. The Romanians are acting as friends of the Ukrainians more than the other way around. And I think that's the only reason that Hungary's on the other side because Hungary and Romania have a very hostile relationship, for lack of a better term. But what were you gonna say, Batman?
I wasn't going to say anything. I was clearing my throat, actually.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to. Jensen, are you back?
Yeah, no, I've been back a little while.
Hold on, Jensen, are you
Chatting,
back?
I'm
He actually commented on a few things after he said I'm back.
It shows he doesn't listen to me.
Yeah.
It
I
shows
don't
that if
matter,
you're trying
I
to talk while
understand.
I'm talking, I'm not going to listen. Just like now.
Well,
That's
that's not truly the case. That's because your gravitational field actually slows down time. So you're actually behind the rest of us. We know.
That's a separate issue. That's very true. Okay. But the war in Russia can expand very rapidly. That's what I'm trying to point out. Yeah. Will it? I don't know. This is a civil war. Okay. I've said this many times already. The Ukrainians have to, in order for a nation state to exist, you have to have defensible borders. Okay.
Yep.
You're trying to establish right now. Ukraine is trying to establish that it has defensible borders right now.
It doesn't.
I would venture to say that they're having issues with that. Okay, trying to establish that. I feel for them. They are ethnically distinct from Russia. I don't disagree with that aspect of it. But
not all of them.
Go ahead.
Not all of them, because even before the Soviet Union, even before Russia became a powerful nation, before World War One, which it actually was, there were people in the Ukraine who were ethnically Russian. They've been there for hundreds of years.
I'm on the side of the swarm lord.
Whole villages and whole towns in the Ukraine that are ethnically Russian.
Yes,
but they still class themselves as Ukrainian.
Yeah, no, I understand. Doku, I'm on the side of the swarm lord. What the heck's the swarm lord?
It's a thing. Actually, I do. It's a thing from 40k. Don't worry, he's making funnies. And in all fairness, Swarm Lord sucks dick. 4-armed Emperor, he wins. Carry on, guys.
Tyrannid.
Okay, I thought it was referring to a manga called Her Majesty Sworn, which would be something completely different if you ever run across.
Actually, I'm on the side of the Kingsman.
Fair.
All right, let's get on to the next foreign story.
Mhm.
Rioters storm Paris HQ of luxury goods firm behind Louis Vuitton. All right,
Mhm.
or firm behind Louis Vuitton, days after its chairman was named to the world's richest man with $168 billion fortune, as pension reform protests still grip France. And by the way, they're
You know,
rioting again because the quote-unquote
France,
Supreme Court of France, okay,
France is going through a
has
vaguely
agreed
similar
with
thing.
Macron or Macaron.
France is going through something that's not entirely, but is still remarkably similar to what pushed the French Revolution into happening.
How about that?
It just shows you frogs can't change.
Fair point. You know about
Hundreds of
the
French workers have stormed the Paris headquarters of the luxury group LVMH as France faced another day engulfed in riots over President Macron's hated pension reforms. Protesters called for the rich to contribute more to financing the state pensions, right? Just days after the chief Bernard Arnault.
Oh
Isn't
no.
that a
Yeah, you don't pronounce the T.
okay?
Don't start that, man.
Isn't that
I was going to
a French
agree
car
with you.
manufacturer as well?
No, that's Renault.
Yeah, but if you pronounce the T in Arnaud, then it's actually it's an English car insurance firm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Dethroned Elon Musk as the world's richest man, all right, with his net worth growing more than 40 billion pounds or 50 billion euros or dollars, all right, to 168 billion pounds, 211 billion dollars. The French company which owns Louis Vuitton,
Dior.
all right, Tiffany, I can say Tiffany, all right, has benefited
Yeah.
from the post-pandemic rebound in demand for luxury goods, and its shares have risen nearly 23 or 26% since the start of this year, cementing its lead as Europe's most valuable company. Um, really, it's Europe's most valuable company. The finance firms in Britain and London are not more really known.
It's he said Europe. He didn't say England. We are
Yeah.
not the same.
No, we're not. Even people in Europe will, yeah, obviously not the EU officials, but the people of Europe will readily agree with that.
So, with the French getting upset about this pension reform thing,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, maybe it's just me, but doesn't this have to happen?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the next one to come up. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Okay.
All right.
Actually, yes. And the really funny thing is they're bitching about like 65. Over here, it's like 67 and might be going up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of amusing.
It was going to go up. It actually has recently gone up to 67.
All right. Okay. There we go.
Yeah,
Or
I
it
thought
is
they were
going
going
up.
from like 58 to like 63 or 62.
Oh no, 65 would have been the standard over here.
The best thing they could actually do is
No,
lower
I'm
the
talking about
pension age.
In France,
Because the best thing they could do is actually lower the pension age to, I'd say, about 60 across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or even better, 55 across the board, because that is actually going to free up a hell of a lot of jobs across the board for young people to move into.
I agree with you there,
Because
Batman.
the largest unemployment figures we have in the UK are young people.
Yeah, I agree with you, Batman, except for one thing. We need to bring about the carousel to deal with those of 60 and above. Just saying.
I think I'd say those are 55 and above, but once you hit 60 without being carouseled, you get let off.
Did you see how he carved out the exclusion for himself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
All
And
right,
you wouldn't.
let's talk about this for a moment, because right now their pension plans and everything are going bankrupt.
Yeah.
You're running out of other people's money,
Yes.
and France just recently went to a 30-hour work week. You were talking about
Yeah.
the youth getting work experience. Well,
Well,
they
France
they
and
just they
Germany.
just they just went from 40 hours of work week to 30 hours of work week
Yeah.
just for that purpose.
France and Germany, and to a lesser degree, much lesser degree, Spain, are living off the backs of every other country in the EU.
Mm-hmm.
Quite literally.
I don't disagree, but the thing is how do you?
It's a
You're not.
slave empire.
This is not going to work. No matter what you
Of
say,
course it is.
this cannot sustain
It's
itself.
they're trying to build a utopia, and they're proving something here. Something H.G. Wells kept realizing every time he tried to write about utopia. Yeah, you can have a utopia where the people who live in the utopia have these wonderful, fulfilling, easy lives. But there's always people in the shadows under the surface who are doing all the fucking work.
Toku.
Yeah.
Wait, French work? How do they find time to protest?
He's not wrong.
I agree. Old
their
farts need to back off.
Doku, they use their wine breaks.
All right. Let's return back to the United States.
Mhm.
Do we have to? Meghan Markle lives there.
We're not going to
Not for
talk
long.
about. We're not talking about the royalties today. The royals.
They're not
Yeah.
royalty.
No, they're
We're
not.
not talking about the royals as a whole. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Any of them.
They're not royalties, but they are holes.
Oof.
Anyway, Texas dairy explosion leaves at least 18,000 cattle dead, one person critically injured.
Yeah, he was a Muslim rapist.
Approximately 18,000 cows were killed and one person was critically injured in an explosion at a dairy farm in the Texas
What
Panhandle
the hell are they
on
putting in
Monday.
the milk?
All right. Castro County Sheriff's Office confirmed with Fox News Digital that the cows were in a holding area before being brought in for milking when the blast occurred at the South Fork Dairy Farm in Dimmitt. All right, or Dimmitt. Very few cows in the holding area survived, officials told the outlet KFDA. Your count is probably close to that. There's some that survived and some that were probably injured to the point where they'll have to be destroyed. Okay? Now, 18,000 cattle, right, in an explosion. First of all, let's talk about what they're trying to claim this is. They're claiming that this was a methane explosion, right, from the manure pits, right?
Yeah.
I
This is
doubt it.
bullcrap.
Yeah.
Okay, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Right.
The manure pit would have to be almost totally sealed off for the methane from manure to build up like that.
It's this is
It wouldn't surprise.
this
It
is a
wouldn't.
holding area. It's more or less an open area.
Yeah,
Right?
it wouldn't
This
surprise me if this is some kind of militant vegan attack.
Are we past all the silly comments? Can we start talking seriously?
I wasn't
Yeah, go
making
ahead,
a
go ahead.
silly.
Oh no,
Question.
no. I just wanted to check. Okay, wanted.
No, I've
want
got
to know
one
what silly is.
one silly comment.
Go on then.
Apparently, the only person injured was a woman. She was obviously hit in the face with a milking bucket when it went off.
Okay, that makes sense. Right, now to be slightly more serious about this, I'm going to remind you about how many other meat processing facilities have been destroyed recently. And before you say these are dairy, they're not meat, yeah, they're still bloody edible, let's be honest.
Yeah, dairy is another anathema to the vegans.
I know.
And to Peter as well.
Yeah, of course, it's abusing the animals.
Well, it isn't actually because,
No.
I mean, dairy cows have been bred so that they will produce milk in
Yeah.
excess.
Yeah.
Unlike what the vegans say that, oh, they rape cows to make them produce. They don't.
No.
cattle. All right, an average dairy cow will produce 6.2 gallons of milk. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
a day. All right, that's a tremendous amount of milk.
Yeah.
When
And they will actually go.
18,000 of them die in something like this, you just
Mhm.
reduced per day, all right, 200,000 gallons of milk a day. All
Yeah,
right,
you watch your price go up for milk.
are
Mhm.
not in this. Okay, now this is obviously a massive spread, right? To be able to have this many dairy cows. Okay, this is a
Yeah.
huge area. But I know something about methane and methane production, all right, from farm animals, right? Having worked on a
Mhm.
farm where we had
Yeah.
farrowing barns for pigs.
I was going to say, if you want to talk about methane from shit, it's you're going to have to talk about pigs,
Mhm.
Right.
because there are some farms where they actually siphon it off and use it for fuel.
Right. Well, you can, but the thing is an explosion like this that's going to kill 18,000. That is, there's something else going on there. All right.
Yeah.
Now
Mhm.
it could also be, yeah, and that's true, Susan. You do also get butter and ice cream and other types of products from dairies.
And
But
Doku is correct. It's warfare.
Yeah, it
He's
is.
not wrong.
there's
I
something.
think I was.
Mhm.
There's obviously something else going on here. Now it could be, and I'll be perfectly frank. It could be that somebody was doing this for the insurance money. Okay. Back in the
They'd have lost.
70s.
I don't know. They would have lost a lot more with the death of the cows than they would have gained with the insurance money.
Arguable, and I'll tell you why. For all we know, something was going wrong with that facility, and they were actually literally drying up. And this was their one last chance to get money.
Yeah,
But I'll be
there
completely
is.
honest.
There was a.
I disagree.
Yeah,
Go on.
yeah, I agree with Jensen. I agree with you, Jensen. Here's what I was trying to point out. Back in the
Mhm.
70s, right, in the grain belt, there was a rash of grain silos exploding. Okay,
Yep.
and somebody started pointing out that these grain silos were exploding when it's just coincidentally around the time that certain inspectors were expected to visit. Okay, and so there could be several reasons for this, and the insurance on those cows, and I guarantee those cattle were insured as well. This is something
Oh yeah.
when you're talking about a facility like this, you're talking something that's in the corporate range. All that stuff is insured massively. They're not going to take a hit by losing 18,000 cows. All right, the insurance will cover this. I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so some insurance companies paying for it, but who's really going to pay for it is the average person, because quite
Yeah.
frankly, the cost of produce or milk products now are going to go up.
Yep.
This is not an insignificant number of animals. Okay, most
No
dairy
shit.
farms that were part of the United States back in the 80s and the 70s, if you had a dairy farm with 500 cattle, you had a big spread.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
18,000, all right, is
This
taking
is
that to a whole corporate level. It can be done.
that's a factory
It's
dairy.
efficient. Okay,
That's a factory dairy,
it is. You're correct.
and
Right,
that's
but
why I suspect somebody's targeted it.
I would agree, especially considering the fact that only a single person was injured.
Yeah.
18,000 cows were injured, but only a single person.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like Doku said in some of these. This is an attack of some sort. That's what
Yep.
this looks like to me.
Yep.
Okay.
Militant vegans or Peter.
Just want to throw the old tinfoil hat on. You do realise that the one person could well have been the
That's what I
person that
was
actually
thinking.
set the explosive.
Possibility.
You mean the person who got injured?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what
what
I
I'm
was thinking.
thinking. Yeah.
I'm not gonna. It didn't say that in
Oh,
the thing, so I'm not gonna make that kind of a assessment.
it didn't.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Didn't. Yeah, it didn't say anything apart from the place exploded.
And that
Was-
there was
was-
one injured. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like
Normally,
Jensen will testify to this too, because because when you're talking 18,000 cows, right?
Mhm.
Hold on a
These
minute.
are large
Did they get you?
animals. Hold on a second.
Hold on a minute.
Batman, listen. 18,000 cattle is a
Mhm.
tremendous number of animals and material, all right,
Yeah.
Mhm.
to go through. Okay?
Yeah.
You cannot, the kind of explosion that can kill 18,000 people, all right, is less than what it would take to kill 18,000 cows.
Oh yeah.
Think about that.
Yep.
Oh yeah. They're tough little buggers.
Yeah, and a methane explosion. That's more heat and flame than it is actual explosive power.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take the building down like that. It wouldn't have killed all that cattle.
I would say that based
But what I'm
assuming that
wondering,
that's
and this
What?
this is a silly comment. Did they get any Japanese cows in recently? Tora!
right. Now to be serious, that explosion, the smoke you saw there, actually didn't look right for a standardized methane explosion. That was a targeted explosion, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, Jensen, the methane explosion is more heat and flame than actual
Yeah.
explosion. There
Yeah,
would
I
be
know.
more
I agree
fire damage.
completely. Yeah,
Now, you could have
I
an
agree
explosion
completely.
and then a fire,
Yes.
all right?
Yeah, more
But
fire than explosion, though.
that's not how the story was being portrayed. And I'm not going
Right.
to.
And like Jensen says, that's not what the picture told us either.
Yeah.
No, you
So
could
I
see.
have some reservations of what's going on here because, like I said, this seems intentional to me. Okay. Walmart. Let's talk about Walmart for a moment.
Mm.
Walmart closes half of its Chicago stores, signaling,
Signaling.
all
Mhm.
right, urban struggles. Walmart
There's a
is.
there's a reason for that. It's because of all these Nigerians going into Walmart screaming, "This is MAGA country," and beating people up.
I like that one. Mm-hmm.
All right. Walmart is shuttering 4 stores in Chicago, having its locations in one of the nation's largest cities, and adding to a growing list of closures in urban areas. So far this year, the nation's largest retailer has closed locations in D.C., Portland, and Atlanta, all right, signaling a retreat from its strategy to attract new customers outside the suburbs and small towns. Walmart attributed the closures in Chicago to a lack of profitability. It's amazing when people are robbing stores blind that they would then suffer from profitability issues.
Yeah.
Right now, crime is out of control in Atlanta, Portland, D.C. Surprise, surprise, Chicago's included in that.
Oh well.
You know where it wasn't included? New
Well.
York.
Mm.
Now ask
Mm.
why, Jensen.
And why would that be, Nomad?
Because New York City refused to allow Walmart to put in their stores.
Wow. Damn. Okay.
There was there's been several of these leftist loony cities that prior back in the 90s, right, when Walmart was going everywhere in the U.S., that they refused to grant them licenses to put a store there.
I believe. I mean, I think it's Asda. That's owned by Walmart, but I believe once over Walmart was actually thinking of taking its main brand, i.e. Walmart, overseas.
Yeah, there was a lot of there's a lot of things like that. But Walmart more than has been the target of leftists for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And now what's happening is in a lot of these larger cities of that Walmart was in, people would always go to Walmart. And as Susan says, no Walmart in New York City.
Mm.
The and because the goods are relatively inexpensive, right? And they are worth what you pay for them. I'm not going to deny that. Walmart does not have necessarily the highest quality goods. If you get the cheapest stuff in Walmart, it is the stuff is inexpensively cheap. Granted, all right, it's not going to be the quality control is just not there on some of that stuff, right? But it's a quick, dirty way of just going. You know what? I just need a freaking screwdriver for this. I need to go down to Walmart. And while I'm there, I'm going to pick up a freaking bag of chips, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was there for, and it worked.
For us, Batman, I would say Lidl or Aldi.
Batman, I don't doubt that.
Mhm. Ouch.
All
Not
right.
wrong.
But the thing is Walmart also, they were okay. Walmarts are friendly people for the most
It's
part. You ever go to a
basic.
Walmart? They are intentionally friendly.
It's
Mhm.
basically, I think the best way I can describe something like Walmart is it's a utility store. Yeah, you can get your groceries there. You can pick up gardening equipment. You can pick up DIY equipment, paint. You name it, you can get it.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I said, Lidl.
Little, I think they're originally Scandinavian or something.
German, I thought, but okay.
Yeah, that would explain the funny little mustaches all the staff have,
Oh, you've
Hunter
noticed
does.
that as
So
well.
what do you expect?
even the women.
So, but they're
It won't be
losing
so
these
bad.
stores. They're losing. Portland is losing all sorts of stores. San Francisco is another place where they're losing all these stores, and the reason for it is because crime is out of control.
Well, it's also that you've got to really wipe your feet before you go in the store if you're in San Francisco.
Let's be fair, you've got to wipe your feet when you come out of the store. That's the problem.
It won't matter if you go in the store or out of the store. It's the same thing.
Actually, talking about San Francisco, I hear that there's been rats have been seen swimming to the islands off the coast of California to get away from San Francisco.
About that, all the rats are disappearing in San Francisco. Now, where have I heard that before, Batman?
Oh shit! Yeah.
Just saying.
On to the next story. Next two
Mhm.
stories. We're going to go through this one and the next one very quickly.
Yeah.
First one. LGBTQ immigrant advocacy groups issue Florida travel advisory over DeSantis' policies. Tallahassee, Florida. Florida advocacy groups have issued a state travel advisory following the passage and pushing of controversial bills by Governor Ron DeSantis, all right, this legislative session. LGBTQ civil rights groups Equality Florida and Florida Immigrant Coalition, made up more than 65 organizations, both warned people away from the state on Wednesday. And
Equality. Hold on. The equality. They keep
Mhm.
using that. And I mean, what laws, specifically in the US, what rights do members of the alphabet community lack that everybody else has?
none.
Oh, well, what was that? What was that, Norman? None.
Yes.
So what? They're like what? Under the eyes of the laws, they're equal. Oh, you can disband that movement because it's done its job.
You'd think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The thing is do you think DeSantis is being dissuaded because the LGBTQ community is being told, "Don't come to Florida"? I
Do you know
think
what? That's just
DeSantis
going to embolden him.
is like, yes, you're 1% of the American population that doesn't want to come here. Don't come.
No, it's
Don't
gonna.
use
It's
our
gonna, I mean,
resources. Don't
right,
come
no,
here
no,
and do this. We have enough of our problems. You'll see this later in some stories where
Slow
Florida
Brad.
has its own issues.
Right, no lads. Just think about it. Let's say DeSantis is, as I keep saying, he's a homophobe, right? And a transphobe, and he gets these laws pushed, right? So that group of people don't go to Florida anymore. The next thing he's going to do, let's ban gay marriages.
He
Seriously?
he will not try to ban gay marriage.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
would.
because it's at a federal level. But to go right
Yeah,
along
fair
with
enough.
this, liberal journalist Anna Kasparian apologizes for promoting Florida's Democrat grifter against DeSantis. The Young Turks co-host Anna Kasparian apologized to her far-left audience overnight for giving airtime to the discredited Democrat activist and Ron DeSantis critic Rebecca Jones. The only person that should be held responsible for that is me. I am the executive producer of the show, and I screwed up royally, Kasparian admitted. Jones is a former Florida Department of Health data analyst who received widespread media attention during the COVID-19 pandemic when she accused the DeSantis administration of urging her to alter the state's coronavirus data. A state inspector general later determined her claims were false. More recently, the Democrat activist falsely accused DeSantis of ordering her son's arrest. On Wednesday, Kasparian corrected her show's past reporting and offered an apology. Part of the reason why I screwed up is because I had all these biases. No, it's not you had them, lady. You have them. Okay? Don't try to say that you've gotten rid of these. Of course,
Can't she
against
also
Ron DeSantis.
apologise?
It's because you are a Marxist, leftist bigot, and you cannot tolerate anybody who can present a worldview that doesn't exist in your little stream of
She
consciousness. And this is also why you are suffering along with your fat buffalo soldier Cenk Uygur right next to you, because you dared say, well, yeah, there's a difference between men and women. An audience and a policy you promoted for freaking decades.
She's also hated by the Armenian community. I mean, look, she's on a show. She's Armenian, and she's on a show, or she's of Armenian descent, and she's on a show called The Young Turks.
I can see that going well.
Plus, I think she should also apologise for terrorising children for decades with that face.
All right. The thing about this is these people pushed this. They knew that these stories were false. They knew. Don't come back and tell me later. I just didn't know. I didn't do my due diligence. Bullshit. Everyone was showing you it was bullshit. You went off your freaking nut, all right, because you were trying to prove something that was arguably false right on its face. And you weren't the only one promoting it. I'll grant you that. You went right along with the rest of the mainstream leftist media shrills that were putting that out there. And don't come back and tell me that you have some kind of newfound commitment, all right, to the truth. You don't.
I'm glad you said shrills instead of shills, because you were more correct with shrills, because that's how they sound.
Well, that's why I said it that way. Okay. That's these people pushed are bitching about, the left has gone too far. Really? Who was the Justice Democrats? Who were they? They were pushing every freaking leftist bullshit freaking nonsense onto everybody. Where you were talking about trans people need to arm themselves and start shooting people. Who was it that made that claim? Oh, that's right. That was Cenk that was kind of hinting at that. They're under attack. Why? Because they're under attack. This is what Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian thought was an attack on them. You can't do drag shows with children. How dare you? How dare you stop us from doing drag shows with kids?
The only drag shows children should be exposed to are those ones that involve those cars with the parachutes at the back.
I actually like the idea of them grabbing Cenk, chain to a horse and dragging him down the road, but that's just a personal thing.
Was that after the story you related earlier about Cenk?
Oh, what, Cenk and the horse genitalia? Yeah, that's a thing. And I worded that so very carefully. I hope you notice.
Anakin Sparring.
That's a scary thought.
No, actually, it should be Anaconspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Susan,
I agree.
Anaconspirator.
Yep, I agree with that completely. I assume you do know about that, Batman.
No.
Oh.
I take it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm about to ruin it all for you. Apparently, dear old Chinky boy, and yes, I've seen the video of him saying it, so we know it's true. He actually completely supports and has indicated he would take part in bestiality. So the song
Most poor
Horsecock.
animals.
So the song Horsecock definitely applies for him.
No,
No, that's the problem, mate. It actually
perfectly
does.
honest, looking at him
Mhm.
and being as disparaging as I can,
Yeah.
I think the only bestiality he could engage in is if he grabbed a hamster.
And the hamsters still fight back. Yeah.
No, the hamster still wouldn't be satisfied.
That's also true.
All right, guys. Beating up Chank over that.
Can you rephrase that, please?
No.
He said beating up, not beating off. It's okay.
I'm English. It can mean the same thing if I wish.
Fair point.
Okay. Now, well, let's on to the next stories. Next group of stories. We're going to cover the next group fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Jensen, you've heard me, and Batman, you've heard me. What is my stance on teachers?
You think that they should all be put in these chambers and have gas pumped in?
I thought he supported them. Oh,
Yeah,
that's what I've been going wrong.
Yeah, he does support them until he gets to pull the lever underneath their feet, which opens the trapdoors underneath their feet.
Yeah.
Hold. Susan, that is terrible. Beating up Chink is like beating up a dead horse. Really? You're really going to go there with that joke? I love it.
A Florida teacher hosted a 30-second fight between her sixth graders in her classroom, police say. Police arrested a middle school teacher in Florida after she let sixth graders carry out pre-planned fights in her classroom during school hours, according to the local sheriff's office. Angel Footman, 23, failed to intervene in any of the brawls and even laid out a fatty ground rules for students ahead of their classes, according to a probable cause affidavit filed with the Leon County's Sheriff's Office. At one point before a fight, Footman told students, 30 seconds, no screaming, no yelling, no phones.
She didn't say no tables or chairs, so suddenly life gets really exciting.
She also didn't say no pile driving, no tombstoning.
No weapons. There's a whole bunch of things that she seems to have forgotten here.
All right. The document cites the statements of 4 female sixth graders from the Griffin Middle School who took part in fights and later spoke to detectives. The sixth graders had their names redacted in the document. Videos of the 3 fights, so much for the no phones, right, filmed in late March by students in the classroom, were also reviewed per the affidavit. In the videos, Footman watched the students fight and would make comments like, no screaming, no nothing, no pulling the hair. All right, so it sounds like that she would.
Yeah, this is a question for me and Jensen. How old is a sixth grader?
Do you want to know how old a sixth grader is?
Yeah, that's about 11, maybe 12 for us. I think that's about 11/12.
Is it?
I think so.
Around 12 years old.
There you go.
Okay.
Right,
we don't do it quite the same. Yeah, we don't do the same, mate.
Yeah. So
you don't do it the way I used to. We used to do it when I was at school.
I know.
Teachers give them a free tour of Auschwitz. Show them.
No, hold it. There is one problem with this, Nomad. You do not talk about sixth grade Fight Club. Okay? Just remember that.
Footman confirmed with investigators on March 28th that the fights happened in her classroom, but denied organizing and recalling the girls out of their classroom to join the brawl.
Yeah, I bet she was wearing a
dislike teachers here.
I bet she was wearing a black and white stripped t-shirt as well, wasn't she?
Yeah. Should I sit there and put the audio up on this one?
I think you should put the audio up on this one.
If you think you should, then you should.
All right. Let me know if you can't hear.
Say it.
Okay.
Why? You asked me how to spell it, so go ahead and pronounce it.
I can't hear bug all right now.
go.
I can see it. I'm seeing say it. But there's no
Yeah,
sound.
I've got the sound up on my side.
Oh, I can't hear a damn thing.
Well,
But I
it's
can't
not
hear
coming out in
anything.
Discord. We'll be coming up on
Oh, right.
We should be able to hear it as well, actually.
No, that's not necessarily true. All right,
The stream has ended. Cricket noise.
You've
the
been
stream
kicked,
is ended.
bitch. Yeah, actually, I've been kicked as well.
Really?
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
he hates us.
I don't
That's
hate
it. I'm leaving.
I don't hate
Hey,
you.
it's us. My work is done.
So this teacher was for the people who don't know about what the story is about. This teacher is trying to get the student to read a passage from one of Mark Twain's, I believe it was Huckleberry Finn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where the name of one of the characters, right, is named the N word.
Right.
Right. Now this was in California, and she's trying to get the student to pronounce it. She's trying to get the student to say the name. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to be real blunt. What's his problem saying the name, reading it? In this
I have
case,
no idea.
I don't think the teacher should have pushed the point. But then again, I wouldn't have had them reading this out loud in a classroom either. The
Yeah.
teacher is obviously got her own agenda here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and that shouldn't be happening either. But as far as this kid, how much you want to bet that this kid got out of this class and is talking to his buddies and is calling his buddies the same word back and forth?
My Nigel.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like
My
I told you before, I don't know if you remember, Nomad, but when I was a kid, I mean, we'll go back to the 70s here, Jensen. When I was a kid, that word was used as a nickname for anybody who was named Nigel.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale-skinned, N-word princess.
Mm-hmm.
But do you see why I don't like teachers so far? And if that hasn't clued you in, at least 6 female teachers arrested over sexual misconduct with students over the past 2 days across the United States.
It's
At
about
least
fucking time because they've gotten away with it for far too long.
At least 6 female teachers were arrested in a span of 2 days this week having sex with students, including a Kentucky staffer who allegedly had trysts with a pair of 16-year-old boys. Ellen Shell of Danville was arraigned in Garland County District Court on Thursday after prosecutors said she had sex with teens on 2 separate occasions in July and August of last year. She worked as a teacher's aide in the Woodlawn Elementary School and was employed at the Lancaster Elementary School prior to that. Yes?
What, in this context, what do you mean by a sapper?
Sapper, what are you referring to?
You said a such and such sapper.
No, he said staffer.
Ah.
Staffer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's not my fault you can't speak English correctly.
In Arkansas, educator Heather Hare, 32, was expected to turn herself in on Friday. Yeah, I'm sure that happened.
That's
for an
happen.
alleged sexual relationship with a teen student, and is now facing first-degree felony assault rap. An Oklahoma teacher, Emily Hancock, 26, was also arrested Thursday after police were tipped off to her alleged relationship with a student. A former substitute at the Wellington Public Schools, Hancock allegedly began communicating with the teen last October and eventually began sending the 15-year-old nude photos.
Hold up. Nomad, Sean has got a link that you might want to take a look at in the chat.
Uh-oh.
He's asked if you've seen this one. And to let you know, I'm going to have to head, guys. Sorry.
Okay.
You look after us. Good luck with the rest of the stream, mate.
You're going to be doing your with op today?
It's 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I'm on about the other one.
I don't know about another one.
All right.
I only know about things
tomorrow. Sean provided this. We'll see you when you get back, Jensen.
Right. See you later.
Take it
See
easy.
you later.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Trans Florida teacher Ashley, who allegedly said that they were going to shoot the kids then themselves, remains in the classroom despite parent complaints. Parents of the student at the Fox Chapel Middle School in Hernando County, Florida, were demanding answers from the district after a teacher made concerning comments allegedly, all right, about harming children and then themselves. Then herself, all right. Although the district investigated the comments and found them concerning, the teacher was not fired and is back in the classroom. The district stated that the comments were made out of frustration with student behavior, but refused to divulge exactly what was said, leading to tension between the parents and the school board. While the teacher in question did make a comment to colleagues that was concerning, the school principal could be heard saying in a recording, all right, that sent to parents on Monday, staff and law enforcement determined that the comment was not an imminent threat to the campus, but was instead an expression of frustration at student behavior. Okay, first of all, the fact that this person is using they, them pronouns is
Oh,
already
God.
a problem.
Yep. I've said this before. I'll say it again. When I was a kid, teachers were under law absolutely forbidden to speak about sex, about religion, or about politics unless it was directly related to the part of the curriculum they were teaching at the time. And then it had to be done in an impartial manner.
And that's how it should be.
That should be returned and enforced.
Oh, I agree totally. And that is the problem with this crap. All right. Now back to the
They're no longer
the other story here. Kirsten Garnett, an English teacher at a Catholic high school in Des Moines, Iowa, was added to the tally Friday for allegedly having sex with a teen student 5 times inside and outside of her school, according to local reports.
Well, does that surprise you? I mean, these days the Pope is practically a Muslim anyway, so.
Investigators said Gant groomed the student over social media and that surveillance cameras caught them going into a classroom alone with a papered over window. She has since been fired, all right, and now has to answer felony counts. In Virginia, Aaliyah, I assume that's how to say that.
Can't say it so.
Crudgmond, 33, a teacher at James Madison High School, was also nabbed for allegedly having sex with a student over the course of several months.
Or Aaliyah.
Right? That could be. Right? The learning disabilities teacher at Fairfax County Schools since 2016 has been charged with 4 counts of indecent liberties and is being held without bond.
A learning disabilities teacher, that's like Down syndrome kids and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, she should be dragged backwards through the street by a horse.
Finally, a Pennsylvania javelin coach, all right, allegedly had sex with a 17-year-old boy she coached, according to prosecutors. Hannah Marth, 26, was arrested after police learned that she had engaged in a sexual relationship with the Northampton area high school track and field athlete, prosecutors alleged. The 26-year-old sent the teen a text in May of 2021 and invited him to her home where the two allegedly had sex. So he's 17. I wonder if he was 17 then or 17 now, which would make it, 2 years ago, which would mean he was 15. Right? This kind of stuff, this kind of grooming of kids is where the culture war is today. It's the reason we're having the culture war today. It's the reason that you're seeing the fight over the quote unquote LGBTQ bull crap. Because it's always been for the people that are pushing these agendas. It's never been about equal rights. It's always been about access to children.
Uh,
And it continues to this
all,
day.
all I've got to say is we're coming for your children.
And they said that.
Yeah. And then when people reacted, oh no, it was only a joke. It wasn't a joke.
No, it wasn't a joke. That's what their targets are. That's what their targets for these leftist loons has been the entire time, so that they can destroy society. It's hedonistic, all right? It's degenerate, and it's perverted. And it all stems, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, it all stems from this whole idea that somehow we got to have sex education classes in school. Why? Show me where the sex education classes in schools, in public schools, has helped anywhere alleviate any problems.
It depends upon how it's done. If, like I said, if it's done in an objective way, and it's actually being used to educate, so that kids, kids when they become of age, won't make mistakes. Yeah, and you have getting pregnant too young, or getting some girl pregnant too
Explaining how
young.
pregnancy works, all right, is one thing.
Yeah, how
That's
pregnancy
all can be
works.
done in an hour in biology class.
Yeah, and that's how we had it. We had one lesson, and it was basically how sex works. Yeah, what not to do, what precautions to take, and how to be
I don't
careful.
think you need to go into any of that. I
And
think you just need
that's
to
as far as it
explain
went.
what. I think all you have to do is explain, all right, the one aspect that's important. This is how pregnancies occur in animals, and males and females are animals. That's all they should have to. That's all they should do. There should not be anything else. They shouldn't say, "Well, this is how you avoid it," or any of the rest of that crap, because at that point you're trying to socialize the kid. Okay, you're not educating anymore. You're in a socialization mode.
Yeah, but to be
And
fair, we
none of
didn't
that
get that
needs to be
until
in
we were.
schools today.
No man, when we got it, we were about 15, and that was 1 year before it became legal. If you know what I mean. So best time to have it, so that you're prepared when you do come of age.
Then you explain how sex is. You don't explain any kind of this is how you avoid it. This is how you deal. This is how you do it. These are the other aspects of it. No, all it should be taught is this is the biology of sex. That's all it should be taught. And that should be the end of it. If somebody else has other types of consequences that they want to deal with, let the parents socialize the kids. The school should not be doing that. And the
Actually,
fact is
that's the
that they've
thing.
been pushing this bullshit for years. You have schools in America that they said, you know what, we need to start distributing condoms because we have too many teen pregnancies in the school. And you know what happened? They put out all these condoms and the pregnancy rate didn't drop. So what happened?
We had a different experience in the UK with the sex education. We had the sex education. The teen pregnancy rate actually did drop dramatically.
It didn't in the United States. Okay? And
That's
that's
the
the
United
problem.
States.
Because the United States is not, it's not like Britain. Britain is now starting to become more like the United States. Why? Because of the influx of immigration into your country is forcing that
It's
issue.
not just that. It's not just that. It's the influx of media as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there as well. It's something to be on the lookout for. And for people who think that only the United States is having a problem or only Britain is having a problem, okay, look at
The
this.
entire Western world's having a problem.
Japan's Prime Minister Kishida unhurt after an explosion during campaigning. The Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was unhurt after a man threw a cylindrical object which exploded ahead of a stump speech he was due to make during his visit to Western Japan on Saturday, less than a year after a former premier was fatally shot during election campaigning. Kishida immediately left by car after the incident, which took place as he was talking with a candidate of the ruling Liberal Democrat Party just before his scheduled speech at a fishing port in the city of Wakayama. All right, according to investigative reports, not going to butcher the name. A 24-year-old man from the Hyogo prefecture was arrested at the scene. Now, for somebody who doesn't know, this is what was thrown. A couple of these were thrown. This is a pipe bomb. Or am I missing something here, Batman?
I don't know. Can't say it yet.
Now, it seems to be a complicated pipe bomb, but it's a pipe bomb. All right. Let me put this a little
There
bit
we go.
more.
Yep, that's a pipe bomb.
Okay.
Doesn't look that complicated, actually.
It's a little bit more complicated than it needs to be honest.
It's Japanese.
I'm
It's
not
Japanese.
gonna
It's probably also. Hey, it's Japanese. It's also probably really tiny.
It's still a pipe bomb. These things can kill fairly
Well,
easily.
yeah, that's their intended purpose.
You know, it's amazing that Japan is becoming more and more violent.
Again.
Again, has returned to it. Okay. Now, this next
Oh,
story.
obviously, they can't do the game shows anymore.
Do you think it's the game shows that are causing this?
No, it's the game shows that was stopping it.
No, it's the game shows that are stopping it. Now, this next thing I'm going to show, all right, and is a security guard defending himself, all right, and getting in trouble. Okay, so let's play this. Ready? Now this is at a Target. This woman is badgering. You can see it right here. This woman is badgering the Walmart, or excuse me, the Target checker, right? Counter checker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So of course, because she's look at her. She's really going
Oh
after
yeah.
this poor woman.
If that
All
was
right?
if she was a guy, she'd be on the floor by now.
And so here comes the security guard, right? He's talking to the woman, right? Now watch. This woman keeps pushing the security guard, backs him into a corner, and he says, "I've had enough." Okay?
Yeah.
Now,
You're
the
forgetting
Target
the
security
delay on it.
guard punches the customer in the face after she demanded reparations. No, she traced him down. Okay, first of all, demanding reparations is bullshit to begin with. All right.
Yeah.
You can see what this woman did. This woman was wanting to walk out and rob this store. Okay, in Ohio. That's what she was pushing. This security guard defended himself. This security guard backed away, right? She came after him, at which point she cornered him, right? Am I missing something? That looks like he got cornered, put into a corner, and it was his only way out.
Yep. As Matt said, she got her reparations.
Right?
Firstly, I think the security guard was out of line. He had his security belt on there. And I do believe he had a kind of mace on him.
Well, what's he supposed to do with this?
Mace her.
She Mason or wasn't going to do any good, right? The thing is he was. This is not a Rosa Parks moment, all right? That's what she's claiming. This was
not.
a Rosa Parks moment, right?
It's not. It's a thief moment.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what this is.
It's a thief in the actions of somebody who thinks they should be able to get away with shit.
Well, she attacked him, all right?
Yeah.
You can't look at that thing and say that this guy was initiating any kind of attack. He was trying to de-escalate this situation just to get rid of her out of the store because she was trying to rob the place.
Yep.
All right? And you know what would have happened, all right, if she had gotten away with it.
Or she would have been back the following day.
Well, with her friends.
Yep.
Right? And they'd have stolen everything that they could that wasn't nailed down. That's the reality.
And yes, Matt, you're right. The left will still treat her like a hero.
Oh yeah. Oh, she wasn't doing nothing wrong, man. She was just there's nothing wrong she was doing. No. She's a thug. This is how they come about this. This is what Michael Brown did, right? For those who don't know the reference, where the whole Black Lives Matter bullshit began with Michael Brown. How's it going, Chris? All right.
Hello, Chris.
And talk about degeneracy. Believe it or not, this is not Florida. A Louisiana man entered a funeral home after hours and went to the embalming room where he filmed several autopsy corpses and shared the grisly images with an acquaintance. According to a probable cause affidavit, Boris Richard, 21, late Friday night, made an unauthorized entry at the Smith Funeral Home in Monroe. Richard, who lives about 9 miles from the business, made entry to the embalming room with several corpses present for post-autopsy, police charge. He then videotaped several of the corpses on his cell phone via FaceTime and was showing an acquaintance the corpses while the business was closed to the public. Richards, seen above, appears to have some connection with the business. He was not an official worker and had been advised he was not supposed to gain entry to the embalming room without consent. Arrested on felony unauthorized entry charge, Richardson declined to answer questions from the police and was released yesterday from the local jail after posting $1,500 bond. You can't just wander into people's stores, folks. And can you imagine what would give you...
What was going through his head?
Exactly. To take pictures at a funeral home of the bodies. What are you doing? Why would you even do something? And then you're FaceTiming with your friends? First question I gotta ask is if this is one of your friends, you might want to re-examine who your friends are. Okay? Just pointing it out. And this next guy is another one who you might want to consider who your friends are if you're a buddy of this guy. Man gives police worst explanation ever for why he has to pleasure himself in public. A Florida man charged with indecent exposure offered cops a bizarre explanation as to why he was pleasuring himself in public, according to court records. Officers were dispatched Sunday morning to a Speedway convenience store in Vero Beach after a 911 caller advised that there was a naked white male screaming at a white female on the side of the road. Upon arriving at the scene, officers encountered Jason Roach. I can't make these stories up. Roach, what a name. All right, with whom they were already familiar. The 40-year-old
And he's
Roach,
male seated on the cock.
the 40-year-old Roach, cops reported, had been questioned twice prior evening in connection with an alleged masturbation incident at an Arby's restaurant and a Wawa convenience store. In both instances, Roach stopped and went on his way. Why didn't you arrest him immediately? Okay, I'm just wondering. Okay, a witness told police that Roach was naked and touching himself in a motion of masturbating while near Speedway around 6 a.m. When questioned about his activities, Roach reportedly said that he was having issues with his rectum, and in order to get rid of the pain, he has to ejaculate.
That mugshot there, he looks like he's doing himself below the fucking camera lens. It does, though.
It does. It does.
You take your picture of me, I'm going to sit here jerking my chicken.
Despite the compelling explanation, Roach was arrested for exposure of sexual organs, a misdemeanor. He was booked into Indian River County Jail, where he's being held on $50,000 bond. FaceTiming dead bodies in a mortuary of an area you broke into gets you $1,500. But if you're beaten off in front of a speedway, we're gonna hold you for $50,000.
Yeah,
This
well,
guy
let's
got
face
a
it.
longer thing than people who get domestic
No,
violence
I'll
and beat
tell you
people
why.
up.
He's beaten off on the freeway, right? I mean,
Well,
if
at a
he,
convenience store.
right, yeah. Even then, if he goes overboard, he might cause a slipping hazard.
I don't think that. I don't think that is that's the case. Okay, the next story is about Arnold. I'm going to pump you up, Arnold. Yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger is 70
The
something,
Communator.
right? But this is a decent. I appreciate this. Fed up by an LA pothole, Arnold Schwarzenegger fills it himself, and this is kind of cool, right? Fed up by an enormous pothole in his Los Angeles neighborhood, Arnold Schwarzenegger picked up a shovel and filled it himself. The actor and former California governor tweeted a video Tuesday of him and a helper using packaged concrete to repair the road in the Brentwood area. This tells you Brentwood is a really high-end neighborhood for those who don't know. Okay, I mean it's really supposed to be, and if they're having to fill in potholes like this, all right, it tells you what's happening in California. Okay.
Oh yeah. Like I've been saying
Today,
for a while now, California is a third world area in a first world country.
yeah, it's becoming that way. Today, after the whole neighborhood has been upset about the giant pothole that's been screwing up cars and bicycles for weeks, I went out there with my team and fixed it, he wrote on Twitter. I always say, let's not complain, let's do something about it. Here you go. A neighbor rolled down her car window and shouted her thanks at the action movie star. You're welcome, said Schwarzenegger, decked out in work boots, a leather jacket, and shades reminiscent of his role as the Terminator. All right, you have to do it yourself. This is crazy. For 3 weeks, I've been waiting for this hole to be
Come with
closed.
me if you want to drive safely.
Come with me if you wish to work. Right. Daniel Ketchel, spokesman for Schwarzenegger, said the Brentwood residents had made repeated requests for repairs since winter storms opened up potholes and cracks on the local roads. Mayor Karen Bass last week announced a plan to address what she called an unprecedented number of damaged streets across the city. Since December 30th, Los Angeles has received 19,692 service requests for repairs. As of April 6th, crews had filled at least 17,549 potholes, said officials. Oh, really? Why don't I believe this? Okay, the Department of Public Works did not immediately respond to an email asking whether the pothole Schwarzenegger filled had been scheduled to be repaired. What does that tell you? Tells me that either A, there's a hell of a lot more potholes than the 17,000 they repaired, or the 17,000 that they claimed that they repaired was bullshit. Okay? Now, I
It
appreciate Arnold
might be a
Schwarzenegger.
bit of both.
I appreciate Arnold Schwarzenegger taking his time to do this. Now, this is a 70-something-year-old man doing this. You can. There are plenty of reasons to dislike Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He
Mm-hmm.
is not my favorite person in the world.
Hercules in New York springs to mind.
All right. I'm just there's several reasons, right? But this at least, look, he went out, rolled up his sleeves, got it done as a 70-something-year-old man. Okay, you have to you have to appreciate somebody that's willing to do that and take the time on their own to go out there and take care of these kind of things. Now, like I said, this is Brentwood. This is a high end neighborhood. A pothole like this, you saw how much material they were using, right? That's a pretty good sized pothole.
Yeah.
Okay, for it to be opening up in Brentwood, right, which is a gated community area. All the areas, all the for the most part, all the houses and everything, the residences in those areas, right, are all gated themselves. They all have individual gates. Not just the community, where you got a gated community. Each one of those has individual gates to it. That's how high end it is. Do you have any comments to make?
I'm just wondering if he was actually burying Sarah Connor.
I don't think.
Oh God, no! He was burying John Connor, wasn't he?
I don't think he was burying Sarah Connor. Why would you even say that?
He's a Terminator.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's see how old
Susan's come up with a good
he
one.
was born in 1946.
Susan's come up with a good one.
What did Susan put out?
She said New Jersey would go after him for interfering with union jobs.
That's true. That's very true. Unfortunately, Arnold Schwarzenegger was born in 47. All right, so he's close to 75 years old, 76 years old.
He's obviously a product of the Nazis' eugenics program.
I don't think he was. I don't think that he was a product of the Nazis' eugenics program. All right, I somehow doubt that, because the Nazi eugenics program did not last that long, especially in Austria. All right, and the Nazis were defeated years before Austria, he was born.
Hold on, if he comes from Austria, how come he's got a German accent? Why does he carry a boomerang? Say things like, "That's not a knife."
He does not care. I didn't say Australia. I said Austria.
Well, there's a difference.
Slight. Slight difference.
Yeah, that's one of my patented let's annoy the Germans routines. Also annoys the Australians.
Matt, I don't think you're helping matters. Right. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a look. If it wasn't for his let's put it this way, dalliances, I would really like the guy overall. Okay.
Dalliances?
Yes.
What, you mean his extramarital affairs?
Yes.
If you were married to Maria Shriver, you'd be having them as well.
No.
I mean, even in the 80s and 90s, she looked like the crypt keeper's mother.
She was not that. I don't think that Maria Shriver was that bad looking. Okay? Now we're going to have to do this.
Why?
Images of Maria Shriver, right? This is Maria Shriver. You can't tell me that this woman is ugly. All right, this is not an ugly woman.
You could put up a picture of the most beautiful woman in the world, and I could tell you she's ugly. I might not be talking the truth, but I could.
Well, you can, but she wasn't the wicked woman, witch of the West. Okay. Now, granted, she's related to the Kennedys, and that's a whole other issue. I'm not saying that she's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think that she was that she was a hideous woman. All right, that Arnold needed to be boinking the maid in the house for her. Okay.
Hmm.
Just putting it out there, and that's not the
Yeah,
only
that's what Arnie was
story.
doing.
That what?
That's what Arnie was doing. Putting it out
That's
there.
and that's not the only story about Arnold, right? In his extramarital dalliances.
Yeah, he was also known as football head to kids in New York. Hey, Arnold.
That's not the same. Final story of the day, folks. Final story.
You sound like you're giving up there.
Pig runs next to highway after being freed from a pen by a bear.
What?
So we gotta have to come up with a little story here. A pig found trotting alongside a British Columbia highway was found to have escaped from a farm where a hungry bear broke through a fence.
Ah, the
Dudney
bear was
Animal
the
Hospital.
bear was clearly a Muslim bear. That's why it
Right,
didn't kill and eat the pig.
the Dudney Animal Hospital posted a video to YouTube explaining a couple driving home from Mission spotted a pig running alongside the westbound lanes of Lougheed, not sure how to pronounce that, right, highway.
Yeah.
The couple contacted the hospital veterinarian Adrian Walton, and the pig was sedated while awaiting a
I would
team
say
from
Lougheed.
okay, while awaiting a team from British Columbia's SPCA Maple Ridge. The pig was loaded into a crate, and the SPCA truck carried the porker to the animal hospital where it was examined for injuries and illness. The 1-year-old pig, named Brenda, was found to be in good health. The owner, Irene Francis, revealed that Brenda had escaped from her pen when a bear tore through the fence in an apparent search for food. Now,
SPCA is that Special Pig Collection Agency?
I don't know. Right?
We were driving home from Mission.
And here's the pig. All right, in the roam, they're putting a leash on Mr. Pig here. Let's bounce the forward a little bit. They got a stretcher for the pig to stand on. All right, this is a pretty docile freaking pig, and it doesn't look injured in any way, shape, or form from the bear. All right, which then leads
I
you
said
to the
it was a
question.
Muslim bear.
Well, it's either that or it was in a pen with its friends, and its friends weren't as lucky, right? I mean, it could very well be that the bear said, "Okay, you get away. You're the food," right? It also could be that this pig said, "Oh, you're gonna come in here? Get some. Let's go." Just
That's the
pointed it
thing.
out. The
If it's a
pig man
pig
said,
pen,
"Okay, I'm your
if it's a
Huckleberry."
pig, nomad, you know yourself. Pigs are fucking dangerous.
They are.
A single bear breaks into a pig pen. If they're full size adult porkers and they're of a mind, that bear is not getting out.
They can take on a bear, that's for sure, right? But a
And they're
single
far
bear
and
and a single pig,
yeah,
I think that the pig probably just made it clear that to the bear, because the bear can kill a pig, let's be honest. But if
a
it's
bear
not
can
worth
kill
it,
a pig.
the
But
bear's going to leave.
generally, pig pens there's more than one pig in there. There's like a bunch, and pigs are a lot smarter than bears as well.
Yes. Well,
They're ridiculously smart.
they are ridiculously smart. They're very curious. Okay. People don't know this,
And
but if you've never raised
like,
pigs, pigs are very curious. Right?
how many times have pigs escaped from pig pens that
They do
you've
it all the
been
time.
around?
They
Yeah,
every year,
you figure out
I
a new
guarantee
lock.
you every year that when I was on the farm, right, we raised feeder pigs. Okay, for those who don't know, all right, feeder pig is you have the sows, you put them in the farrowing barn, they have the little piglets, you take the little piglets, you wean them, all right, and then you get them to about 20 pounds or so, right, and then you take them and you sell them at the market, and these are
Hmm.
feeder pigs that are then the larger farms or the meat market people will purchase them and then feed them to full size, which they then sell at the market for food, right?
Yep.
To the butchers and things like that. So that's what feeder pigs.
thing-
We sell
Uh,
feeder pigs. Okay.
That's one of the animals that used to escape from one of the local farms when I was a kid. Pigs. Because you put a lock on on their enclosure, they will work out how to get around that lock. If
Sooner
they
or
can't
later.
get around the lock, they will work a way around how to get out of that pen.
Yep. Every year, every year, at some point in time, we were going to be chasing the feeder pigs through the adjacent cornfield.
Nomad, there was one pig. There's a sow, so yeah, it was being kept alive to basically breeding,
Yes.
and it used to escape every every summer. It would escape, and it had gotten to the point where it knew to keep out. If it saw a police car, it knew to hide.
That's another thing. They learn that too.
Yeah.
The people no, pigs are very smart. They will, and like I said, they're very inquisitive. Anybody who's ever raised pigs knows this. Pigs, if you put anything new, all right, if you have something new in your hands, right, like a new shovel, right, for cleaning out the manure pits, if you just walk in with that new shovel, all the pigs will come in there to look at you and say, "What's that?" Right? They're very curious. They're naturally curious animals, right? And some of them, like they all have different personalities. This is another thing about animals: is they
Yep.
have certain. They don't all have the same personality. There are some that are very, very docile, right? There are some that are quiet, right? And then there's some that are just downright ornery and mean.
Or
Right?
there's worse than that. There are some that are devious.
There's those. There's those too. Okay, right? The ornery ones are they tend to be. They don't tend to be mean. They just tend to be
Short-tempered.
not. How do I put this? Uh, they do things just
Antisocial.
yeah, basically antisocial, right? That they're gonna do things like just because they can, right? I know this sounds weird to people who've never dealt with large numbers of animals, right? But pigs especially are can can be very interesting to work with because they are so smart. All right, we had a down the road was one of the neighbors. They had Hampshires, right, which are black pigs with a big white stripe across the shoulders, the front shoulders, right? And he was they would breed. They were purebreds. They were breeding purebred Hampshire pigs, right? Was a specialty type of thing, and they used to keep the pigs in a pen, and they would put about 4 inches or 5 inches above the ground. Was they would just string a single strand of electric fence wire,
Mm-hmm.
right? And of course, the pigs would come up to it, they'd get zapped on their nose, and then they would stay away from it. So they created pens that were just like that, and that worked great until they had a large storm, and the pigs literally rooted up the ground into the electric fence wire, shorted it out, and then walked right out, and were roaming all over.
Yep. Does not surprise me.
It's amazing the the lengths at which they do things, right? And if you have any kind of
Uh,
fencing that is not made out of steel and concrete, okay, they are going to break it. Eventually, they will bend the steel and the concrete fencing, all right, but it takes them a lot longer because it's just the amount of weight. But if it's made out of wood, eventually they will literally chew through it.
Not long.
Okay.
The other thing is they can they from the way they behave and what they do, they seem to have some concept of the future and the passage of time and planning ahead.
It's a possibility. I can't deny that that's not that's a possibility. Pigs are they're they they can be wonderful creatures, all right, and they can be terrors, all right. And old boars. Let me tell you something about people who
That's
never
me
met
and
one.
you.
A boar, a 600 or 700 pound boar, okay, which is not the largest boar. All right, they're large. 600-pound boar is a big boar, but it's not a huge boar. Right, these things get to be 1,200 pounds, folks. But a 600-pound boar is a good sized animal. At that point, there's really not much you can do to it that it cares about, unless you have some kind of electric pig zapper. Okay,
Yeah.
because otherwise you can try and push it and it just leans into you, right? You can't
There's
guide
not
it.
much difference. There's not much difference between a domestic boar and a wild boar, apart from wild boars bigger and they're a lot more bad-tempered.
Well, they're also the one of the things that we do with pigs when they're feeder pigs is you cut out the eye teeth. You break off the eye teeth.
Yeah.
Because you don't want
So
those
they've got
turning
no
into
tusks.
tusks.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's critical to break the eye teeth out when they're young, because if they get tusks, the amount of look, it doesn't take much for a pig to sit there and do damage to you to start with, even when they're 50, 60 pounds, right? If they had tusks with them, right, they could literally threaten to kill. They could literally are a threat to killing you, right? Because it doesn't take
Even
much
without
for
the
them to
tusks.
move their head up and jam that freaking tusk right through your freaking leg.
Yeah. So even without the tusks, they're still a threat to your life if they was to be.
Well, when they're that small, you can still push them around a little bit when they're 50 pounds, right? When they get about 100 pounds or so, then they're a lot more difficult to deal with, right? But a 50-pound one, you can at least push away. But if it has tusks, if it's starting to grow those tusks, it can hurt you very quickly, all right? Without even not even really trying. And that's another thing. Like a story time from my brother. Now, when we moved to the farm and to grow up on the farm, right? My brother was the one who wanted pigs. All right. So before we actually got pigs and everything, my brother was the one pushing my father to start having pigs on the farm. Okay. And my older brother had read all these things about pigs, right? So he was the one who was going to be taking care of the pigs generally with Dad, which turned into all of us anyway. But he was the driving force behind it. But one day, my brother decided to go, okay, I've read that these things are omnivorous. I wonder if they really are omnivorous, right? And
Yeah, they are the omnivorous.
just as a lark, he laid down in the feeding trough, right, which was empty at the time. And the pigs came over, sniffed at him, and then started biting him.
Yep. And that's horrible because pigs, when they bite, their teeth lock, they take chunks, don't they?
He got nipped pretty good.
Yep. Well, if you only got nips, they were playing.
Well, they were testing. There was like, when the pain began, that's when he decided no longer to stay in the feeding trough. He got the hell out of there. But I'll admit, I was laughing my ass off.
The other thing is, I've heard this from quite a few different sources. Pigs make excellent pets as well.
I've never had a pig as a pet. Right? They are trainable. Right? You can train them to walk and stop and do everything. They can be trained, right, to be efficient.
Not just trainable, but you could, like with a dog, you can negotiate with them as well.
Yeah. No, like I said, they're trainable. I mean, they're completely trainable and stuff. It is amazing what you can do with them. We had you as part of the 4-H stuff, when you had pigs and you were taking them to show, right?
Mm-hmm.
As part of the showmanship thing, you would take the pigs around and you would show them stopping, and it doesn't take much. You can put your finger, if you train them right, you can put your hand on them, they'll stop. All right, you can just motion and they'll go. Right, you can tell them to turn, they'll turn. Right, it just depends on how much time you want to spend with the pig to teach them all these things. Right.
Yeah,
they're very quick studies. They really are.
You remember that film, Babe?
Yep.
About the pig that ends up herding sheep.
Yes.
I mean, that was done by people who don't really know what pigs are really like. But you could quite seriously train a pig to do that job.
You could, but they wouldn't necessarily. Pigs don't respect sheep.
Do you think sheepdogs respect sheep? Sheepdogs respect the shepherd.
I think the sheepdogs. You gotta understand what I mean by that. I mean, the sheepdog won't go out of its way to terrorize the sheep. Pigs will.
Oh yeah, that is true. But not if it's trained not to.
Yeah, but that means you have to take the extra step. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
All right.
because let's face it, sheepdogs just running on wolf instinct, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some interesting dynamics that happen with different farm animals. For example, cattle, for whatever reason, right, are intimidated by horses. I think it's they see the height of the horse, right, and so horses will basically bully cattle around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geese will bully other farmyard fowl.
Yes.
And
right.
anything
and they
else that
will
comes
and they
across their
will
path.
try to bully the small little feeder pigs until they get to be about a certain size, and then it goes the other way.
They try and bully full-grown humans. I mean, come on.
They do, right? we had 5 geese on the farm, right? And one day, Dad was replacing the heater, and what he did is he decided to get a heat pump so it would be both a heater and an air conditioner, right?
Uh-huh.
And the guy who was doing the installation was working outside on the outside portion, right? And the geese attacked the holy hell out of it. Because he was, he's busy working underneath there, and they would walk right on up, and then they'd bite him,
Yeah. Hey, when I was a kid, I had a paper round, and the last house on that paper round, it was a former farmhouse, right?
Uh-huh.
Slowly been surrounded by the houses and that, but they still had geese. And you had to be in and out of there quick, otherwise the geese would hear you. They would come around from the back garden and attack you.
Yeah.
5 of the little bastards. And they wouldn't come round one way. Yeah. 2 of them would come around one way. The other 3 would come around the other way.
Yep.
To try and get you.
Yeah. In this case, the case I was telling you about, my dad, after he paid the guy, he went in there and we executed the geese. And he gave the let him have the goose for a dinner as an apology.
Yep. And revenge.
And revenge. Okay, that's everything I got today. Hope that everybody enjoyed the show. We'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for everyone coming.
Personally, I don't care if you enjoyed it. It's time for you to go. So go on, you can all shut off now. Well, apart from you, Susie, you can stay if you want because I like you. But the rest of you can